Eddie Green, North Carolina. It's like a dance like him.
Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me, that's a sin. I won't ever slack up, punk it better back up, try and play the role.
Hey, this is Kirk.
And this is Byrd. It's the Kirk and Byrd Show. And today we're going to cover the NFL with our football knowledge guy, David Combs. Welcome,
DC.
David.
Hey, everybody.
DC, show us your beer, man.
Oh, yeah, I've got the Baltimore Blonde today. You know, the
Baltimore
only
Blonde.
Guinness beer.
He's a
The
Maryland
only
guy.
Guinness beer the only Guinness beer that's brewed in the United States. It's brewed right here in Baltimore.
Hey,
And
David,
Russ-
do you live in Maryland?
Gaithersburg.
He lives on the other side of the world. And Rusty has on a UVA cap. So
I love it. Thank you.
it's in honor of you, Dave. I didn't have
But
time
Dave,
to go. I didn't have time to go get a shirt.
We can have a whole show on this topic, but I just want to bring up one thing because that can had it. My wife went to the University of Maryland, and I joke her all the time because Maryland is the only state that throws their flag on everything. Or the people, they throw the flag on their helmets, on people's socks. My wife has socks that they're not University of Maryland. They're just that color of the flag, and it's on your can. Like it's the people in Maryland love that flag. Love it.
All right.
Yeah, they put Old Bay on everything, too.
All right.
All right. So even though it's Wednesday, we want to do an NFL overview, not necessarily like a podcast that went over last weekend, even though we're going to talk about last weekend. So we want to start off locally with the Washington football team, Redskins, who were handily defeated by a very good Green Bay Packers team. Dave, you are a encyclopedia on Washington football team. What'd you think about the game, and what do you think about what's going on? Taylor Heineke, the running game, Landon Collins had a good game. Give us your thoughts.
Just overall, and thanks for having me on the show, guys. We're glad to be back.
Yeah.
Just my quick nutshell, just not good enough. That's the issue for the WFT right now.
Right.
Taylor Heineke isn't good enough. There's nothing personal against Taylor Heineke. He's been pressed into duty. Landon Collins, hey, man, great game. Just not good enough.
Right.
Offense, not scoring enough points. Defense, not stopping or slowing down a team. And by the way, the last 2 weeks, the WFT has played teams that would be Kansas City and then now Green Bay that were looking ahead to their next week's opponent. Green Bay plays tomorrow night. They're 6-1, and they're going to play the 7-0 Arizona Cardinals. That's for first place in the NFC.
Yep.
So they were not expecting to devote a lot to the WFT, and the WFT didn't really give them much to have to think about. That's my take on what I felt about that game. I just felt like the Kansas City game the week before last, Kansas City came in here, they're kind of sleepwalking. And to be honest, Green Bay was kind of indifferent.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about next week? You know, for the fan base around here, because I've been turning on some talk radio, and you know the fan base is getting unrest. That they're going out to Denver, I believe it is in Denver, Mile High. I mean,
they're going to go out to Denver. What's that?
You think they have a chance?
Yeah, they have a chance. Von Miller is 50-50 on the ankle. No Von Miller makes their defense a lot easier to play against.
Right.
Teddy Bridgewater, he's very injury prone, and he was in the concussion protocol again, not for this year, but he's been in the concussion protocol many times in his career. And just a fragile guy. Maybe he twists an ankle, maybe you knock him out of the game, and you get a look at the backup. That game's winnable. It's one of the few games left on the Redskins schedule that is truly winnable. This is one of them.
Right.
Yeah. So I think a lot of the games they've actually played thus far, though, should have been winnable. You know, when you look back in retrospect, the only games that they might have, we would have assumed that they would not have had a chance would have been the Chiefs and the Bills. But I thought, you know, I mean, we didn't know the Chargers would be quite as good as they are, but definitely the 2 wins they got are the two wins they should have gotten against the Giants and the Falcons. But like you said, the Chiefs, they're down. Like, other people are hitting the Chiefs. And when I look at their defense going into this season, all right, they were coming off of they were carried by their defense last year. It was a great defense. It got them into the playoffs. And, you know, in the offseason, they actually doubled down in the draft, and their first pick was a defender, a linebacker. And so, but the defense not only didn't get better, it didn't even maintain. It's gotten a little worse. When you look up, you know, these teams are putting up points on them. You know, the Giants scored 29. You know, the Bills put up 43. The Saints 33. The Chiefs 31. You know, I thought the Fitzgerald pickup at quarterback was going to be a decent move. You know, I mean, we couldn't predict that he'd get hurt. I mean, he's older, so that's a possibility. But yeah, I still didn't see what was their plan for offense. You know, I don't follow the Skins as much as I used to, but, you know, besides Logan Thomas, I don't, you know, a Hokie, I didn't see a real go-to player.
Fitzpatrick was brought here to spread the offense out and stretch the field with Terry McLaurin to be able to get the ball down the football field. Okay. And Taylor Heineke's, that's Taylor Heineke's weakness. Taylor Heineke does not throw a very good deep ball. Ball hangs up, right?
Yep.
Allows a lot of defensive players an opportunity to get under the football to defend passes. And the only way that Taylor Heineke can get those passes to drop in there is he has to break the pocket. He can't stand back in the pocket and make those throws. He has to get outside the pocket and go against the, you know, basically work against the grain on the defense and get them working the other direction. Fitzpatrick getting hurt really hurt the Redskins' plans, really sullied their plans as far as what they plan to do offensively this year. Antonio Gibson looks a little bit injured to me and has looked injured for weeks. And I just don't know if there is a go-to guy on here. Rusty, I'm with you on that. I don't know if there is a go-to guy on this offense. And it's even worse because their defense played a little better this week, but their defense was supposed to be the backbone of this team. They were supposed to be able to hold teams under 21, and that's not happening. So,
and it looks like Chase is taking a step back, or people are figuring out he's a threat. You know, when that being a rookie, you just never know. So maybe that gave him an advantage. But once people get film, you know, didn't have the same type of off-season, you know, because he's a star. I see him in all these commercials and things, or just the support around him hasn't lived up to what it needed to be. But I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah, I just
San Diego drafted.
Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead, Kirk.
No,
San Diego drafted a left tackle with their first pick this year. They got Rashawn Stanley from Northwestern. Northwestern is in the Big Ten. He's a left tackle, which means he's seen Chase Young a couple of times. And both times he saw him in college, Chase had no sacks. Okay. Now, this isn't Iowa. This isn't a big name program. This is Northwestern. Northwestern brings in a big left tackle that can handle Chase Young. And then San Diego drafts him. And in his rookie year, his first game as a pro, he holds Chase Young with no sacks.
Yeah.
That's great drafting.
The word on Young is that he's a little, wild, too much. The motor's running too fast. So he's going to have film to look at. And I wanted to point out just a couple of things before we move on and talk about our neighbors up the road, 60 miles. I heard an injury report at rush hour today that Fitzpatrick is still indefinite. So he whatever he got for this year, he may be getting it. Secondly, what are your feelings on next year's draft? Because I think we're going to be positioned well. I know we didn't trade it. We're going to have a pretty good pick, probably a top 12 pick. Dave.
You're talking about the WFT?
Yeah, Redskins, WFT.
Yeah.
What do you think? Obviously, it's got to be offense. Is it a quarterback? I mean, we drafted quarterbacks. Is it a tailback? We need a tailback. We need a left tackle. What do you like, Dave? And then let's close off this and move to the Ravens. Rusty, you tell me what you like on the draft. What do you think, Dave?
Let's use a term that an NFL draftnik Mel Kiper uses in terms of, value. If you're going to pick in the top 7 or 8, is there a quarterback there that you can pick if you're the WFT that you'll say to yourself, this guy will be in my starting lineup within a year? He'll be ready.
Right.
The only guy that I see there is maybe Sam Howell from North Carolina. Everybody else, Malik Willis and guys like that, those guys are flashes in the pan. Your quarterback people have got to know what they're doing, to get this guy.
Well,
and I think Sam Howell is probably who they're going to grab if they're going to draft a quarterback.
I think he's overrated. So who do you think second?
The kid at Pitt. I like him.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Russ?
I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
I just don't think this year's class of quarterbacks is anywhere close to what we had last year. That was a very heralded group of quarterbacks, 5 taken in the first round. But some of those second round guys had been projected to be first rounders, during the season, during the college season. I don't think you reach for a quarterback in the first round if you're not in love with them. And then where they'll probably be picking, my philosophy is you can. Guys, there we go. That lets us know we should be wrapping up this Redskins.
Just about wrapped up. That's cool.
But
you were on a roll there. You were on a roll.
Yeah, I just want to. That's just our warning. We don't have to have a hard stop. Kind of like PTI. But I just my thought. Last thought is that you cannot go wrong by building up your offensive line. Like that has been the key. To me, the interior, those guys doing the dirty work is the key. And especially when you consider Redskin history, their best teams, their Super Bowl teams, they weren't predicated by a great quarterback. We have 3 different quarterbacks that won Super Bowls. It was the Hogs. And so if you can model the offensive line like you did your defensive line, I think it makes everything else work until you can get that quarterback you want. I think you can always get a running back in the 2nd or 3rd round. I think running backs are just who's got the freshest legs. And then if a healthy Logan Thomas, and the receivers will be fine. The key is if the quarterback has time, anybody can get open. So that's my thoughts on next year in the draft. I have one last thing I want to say. When I look at the schedule, I hope the Redskins realize they're going to need to really get some wins in these next couple. They need to beat the Broncos, because after that, it's going to be tough to beat the Bucks. Probably can beat the Panthers, maybe Seattle, but I think the Raiders, the Cowboys, even the Eagles, and then Cowboys again, Eagles again will be tough. So to give themselves some hope, they really do need to beat these Broncos, because if you lose to the Broncos and then you lose to the Bucks, now you're 2-7.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the Ravens, but I think we all agree that Scott Turner has got to do a better job drafting. And by the way, Northwestern had 2 first-rounders last year, so it ain't.
They sure did.
Northwestern is not what it used to be. But did anybody expect butt whipping that Cincinnati laid on the Ravens at M&T right there off of 395 of Joe Burrows and Jamar Chase? I mean, are they real? I mean, did you see that coming? I don't think the Ravens necessarily have anything to worry about. But, we got a lot of Ravens fans around here. So, what are your thoughts on that game, Dave?
It was a tight game up until the 3rd quarter. And the Ravens the Bengals just stepped on the gas. I thought, my opinion was that the Bengals were going to take a step back this year, because Joe Burrow was injured last year, injured against the Redskins, right? Right. Blew his knee out. And I thought that they were, when they drafted Jamar Chase, I was saying to myself, they should have helped on that offensive line. They didn't. Okay, great. But quietly, they're sitting atop the division, and Joe Burrow looks fantastic. He looks great. And Jamar Chase looks even better. It looks like he totally vindicated their front office by picking him. He just, man, that was amazing. You know, that was a great thing to watch.
Kirk, what you have any thoughts? Because you know what sticks out to me is that it's just like Dan Lebertar says on his show, and I love it. It's just football. Like, it's football. Anybody, I don't know how people can gamble on football. NFL football, let me put it that way. Yes, the Bengals look good. They're 5-2, but I think football is the one sport, especially the NFL. Week to week, we have highs and lows. Look, people are always doing this to Lamar Jackson. He can have a good game, but if they lose, there's something we're going to say, look, it's football. They're tied for first. I think we are all surprised at Cincinnati having this record, like you said, coming off of Joe Burrow's injury. Maybe they're ahead of schedule. But we still have 10 games to go. Remember, we're playing 17 games this year, and a lot can happen between now and then. Look, if the Steelers the Steelers are only 2 games back. Cleveland's only 1 game back. There's a lot of football left to be played. Now, I'm rooting for Joe Burrow. I like him personally, but I like the Steelers more. But I'm rooting for him, especially because of the injury, and I love that LSU team. But I would say let's see where we are in 7 more games.
Yeah, see, I think
it's one of the toughest divisions in all of football. It's one of the toughest divisions in all of football.
Yeah, if not. Point I was going to make is if you take Lamar Jackson's 88 yards out, that's 17 yards rushing. They've got to get a good quality tailback.
But we know they don't.
Right. But maybe next year it might be a first rounder. You can get a good tailback in the second round. Go ahead, David.
Let's give Cincinnati's defensive line and their front 7 a lot of credit.
Yep.
They did a great job. Mm-hmm. They just weren't the holes guys were not there. They just weren't, and they tackled very well. And if you ask any Ravens fan, and we're going to try to have Bill West on my show. Let me get a quick plug for the TD Report. We're going to try to get Bill West from Ravens Roost on there. It might have been the worst tackling game the Ravens have had in years.
Yeah, and they're traditionally a very good tackling team.
Yeah.
Always a good tackling team. But they're going to do one thing the Ravens are going to do. They're going to tackle.
I still think they're all right. So let's move on. Now, Rusty's a Pittsburgh fan, but he still has a soft spot in his heart for WFT. The Cowboys. I think they're looking pretty good. Thoughts?
Rusty, you want to go first?
Yeah. I'll tell you this. So the place in my heart is I love the Steelers and I love the Bears. I used to like the WFT, but that love is that's what I think about them. That's why I get a look. That's what I call them outside of being on a kid-friendly show. But under this management and leadership, I can't pull for them, and they're my local team, and I love the Hogs of old and the Redskins. I love pre-Dan Snyder skins, but let me say this: the Steelers and the Steelers were my team from the 70s. The Bears took over because of Walter Payton, as you can see, my favorite player of all time.
Love the jersey, classic.
Yeah. Kirk, what was your original question?
I know you lost it. The Cowboys.
The Cowboys. Okay. No, that's my
man.
point. I wanted to make the point of this. I have several teams that I love or like, but there's one team I hate, and that is the Cowboys.
Yes, sir.
And I tell you that from having been a childhood fan of the Steelers. If you were raised in the 70s and you saw that, it was like, you would have thought they played in 10 Super Bowls in the 70s. The Cowboys. Because I felt like that was the rivalry in pro football. Like, I'm 50 years old, but I still remember those rosters, those Hollywood Henderson, Tony Dorsett, Roger Staubach. Like, I knew, as much as I loved them, I hated them. And this is the thing. The Cowboys are no fun if they're not winning. And so it's bad. I feel sorry for them, really over the last 25 years because they really haven't been good. But I'll tell you what, with Dak Prescott, with all, like, I thought last year they would be they'd be going like this and have things revved up because of Dak. When he got hurt, you can tell like he was the difference. And so he certainly deserved the money. I'm glad he's back healthy. But look, if you let this offense with those receivers, with Ezekiel Elliott and Dak at the helm, bro, they are legit. I mean, they're straight legit. And so, but this makes it more fun. It's fun to have them good and then give all my friends a hard time when they lose. But I think they're legit. They're legit.
The paradigm, and I love what you said about that. The paradigm in the NFL has changed. I think I might have mentioned this on your show previously. You are never going to see another defense like the Monsters of the Midway. You're never going to see that again. You are never going to see a defense like what the Ravens had when they had Ray Lewis, Chris McAllister, all those guys, Ed Reed. Okay, you can't hit guys like that anymore.
No,
it's been legislated. It has been legislated out of the NFL, okay? I've said this to WFT fans a million times. If Sean Taylor had played his entire career, he would have been the most fined player in league history. And he's not a dirty player. He's not a dirty player. That's the whole point. Everyone's like, oh, Sean Taylor's dirty. No, he's not. He's playing hard-nosed football.
Yeah.
What these guys today play, they can't play that way anymore. So you're never going to have a defense that's going to say, we're going to hold teams to 15 points, 14 points. You're going to give up 21 points. This is what the old school NFL defensive coordinators have to deal with. But you can't just say, we're going to outscore everybody. What Dallas needs to strive for is that balance. Okay, we're going to have a defense on the field a lot because our offense scores a lot of points. Defense is going to be on the field for 65, 70, maybe 75 snaps a game. But if Dallas is up on you 3 scores in the second half, and I don't mean 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns and a field goal, that's all their defense needs.
Yeah.
If you give their defense a cushion, they can stretch games out until you run out of what happens to a lot of teams against Dallas over the last 6 games. They ran out of possessions on offense. That's what happened. They didn't run out of time. They didn't run out, the defense didn't shut them down. They ran out of offensive possessions. This is a statistics league, points per possession. I will guarantee you that Dallas on their defense, points per possession, because they're on the field so much, when you stretch it out and you give them all those snaps, they don't get scored on as much as people think. Eagles game, prime example, Eagles game, Dallas and Eagles. Dallas's offense gave up 7 points, right? And they still won by a healthy margin, right? And they gave up the ball in the red zone against the Giants, twice, 3 times? That's the issue. You have to get your points against Dallas, against their offense. You've got to turn them over. If you cannot turn Dallas over, they will score points, period.
They're obviously going to win the division unless there's a bunch of huge injuries. I think they can make a run, but not a long run. But I will say this in Redskins WFT fans, and by the way, I literally saw, Rusty, yesterday, a WTF bumper sticker on Darrell Green Boulevard. I kid you not. But
you're going to love this, Kirk. I got to pass this on to you. I'm sorry to jump in. I was up here in Gaithersburg. This is like one of the dividing lines between where it becomes Redskins territory and Ravens territory, right? Went into Mama Lucia's pizza joint over in Kings Farm. There was a guy sitting at the bar with a Redskins jersey on, and on the back it said, "Sell the team."
Well, that might be happening.
I should have taken a picture.
Cold-blooded,
y'all. Cold-blooded.
Hey, you make a point, and my cousin Rodney Price, I'm sure he'll watch this. He's still one of the most loyal and biggest Skins fans or FT fans, but he lives in Howard County, right by the airport, right outside of Baltimore.
Yep. That's Baltimore.
I joked him last year, like, bro, go ahead and just make that transition to being a Ravens fan. Like, I know you love them. I know you love your Washington football team, but it's easy, bro. Just go ahead and change over to the Ravens, and you won't have the same stresses, same issues. As long as Snyder's the team president, it's just an easy transition. Kirk, anything else you have to say on the Cowboys?
No, I was just going to transition by saying this. I've been seeing Ezekiel Elliott. This is for all my Cowboy friends out there. Remember Bones Thugs and Harmony, the Crossroads?
Yeah.
Remember the dude that had the straight hair, like parted in the middle? That's what Zeke looks like to me now. But I miss my Uncle Charles. That's what he looks like, man. I just had to throw that in there.
My last thing on the Cowboys is this, and I don't like to give them credit, but two things I want to say. I think one of you, I think Kirk, you just said that if the Cowboys have a couple of injuries, no, they only need one injury. If that goes down, it's a wrap. The other thing I want to give the Cowboys credit for, and I don't like to give them a lot, but they addressed the need. When they picked up Parsons at linebacker, it just brought a lot of stuff together for them. And that was a key. Like, they used that first-round pick at a need and a player that they have put all around on that defense, and that's made a big difference too. Yeah, like you said, Dave, a lot of teams are still putting up points, but they addressed the need with the potentially great player. So that was it. Since we talked about the draft and we talked about with other teams. All right, next, let me get you guys. Kirk, tell us about your power ranking. Who do you think are the best teams? What are the top 5 or top 10? You can tell if you want to use a source with somebody else, or what are just your personal favorites? Top 5.
Well, I think the game tomorrow night should be interesting. J.J. Watt is out, but Green Bay's got some injuries too. So Green Bay is a dangerous team. They're a team that if they get hot, they could be a contender. But, there's a number of teams. Rusty, at this point in the season, I don't see a clear-cut leader. No disrespect to Arizona, because they're playing very well. I think Tampa looks great. I like Tampa. I've liked the Rams from the start. They are not disappointing. I just mentioned the Packers. I was talking about the Bills preseason. And then, Dallas, this is where you start to get into, I can't see Dallas going to the Super Bowl. The Bengals, I'm looking at NFL.com, and the Bengals, they would be a surprise. The Ravens, I think the Ravens are a threat. I'm doing just a general, but, right now I would say that I like, and then the Tennessee Titans, they're another one that I think will fade some. I do like the Chargers. And then I think the Ravens have bounced back really well with Gruden. But if I had to pick right now, and that's one of the things I said we would do about the cream rising to the crop. Actually, I wanted to save the Super Bowl predictions till the end. So let's save that till the end. But, those teams all stand out to me. And I will say this, I think this is a correction year for the Chiefs, okay? I think the defense is in disarray. I think the offense is in disarray. I don't think that's a team that's going to fall apart. I think they'll be fine. But, they've been struggling. So go ahead.
You don't think they can't right the ship?
Kansas City? No, I don't think so. I think they're going to have an off year. I do. I think they're going to have an off year. If you look at the schedule they're going to play, they have to play a tough schedule. And,
they played a tough schedule last year, Kirk. They played a tough schedule last year.
I know, but, Mahomes cannot play completely unbelievable. He's going to have an off year. And by the way, one other one, and let's go to you, Dave. Our distinguished guest, even though we got a second Cavalier on here. Pittsburgh's having a correction if they make the playoffs, I think that's a good coaching job by Mike Tomlin. And if he gets in, I think it's ready for Ben to let go.
Mike Tomlin is unappreciated in his own time. He's a very good coach.
Yeah, he's the best coach.
Very good coach. Not a social. He's not a self-promoter. He's not a look at me kind of guy or always trying to be in the media. Okay. But honestly, I've really come to appreciate Mike Tomlin over the past 5 years because of what he's dealt with in Pittsburgh. That being said, there's one team that you didn't mention, Kirk, in your power rankings.
Which one?
My Super Bowl pick, AFC champions, your future AFC champions, the Buffalo Bills.
Oh,
I'm not there.
I love them. I
like
I did say I like them. I like them too.
I love everything about the Bills. I love them.
I said I've liked them. You missed it. I said I liked them in preseason. Their quarterback's playing good. They've got a good defense. That is an AFC team. That would be a good Super Bowl. Buffalo and Tampa in Los Angeles and SoFi. I like that.
Hey, I've got Buffalo. Here's my Super Bowl picks. I picked Buffalo and Green Bay. Okay? Laugh all you want. The reason I picked Green Bay is because they're in such a weak division, and Green Bay will not have to likely play Los Angeles and Dallas to get to the Super Bowl. They're going to play one of those two teams. They'll beat one of those two teams if they can get them in Lambeau.
Okay. All right.
Okay. That's my take. I don't see Aaron Rodgers in his swan song in Green Bay because he won't be the quarterback in Green Bay next year. I don't see him losing in Green Bay in his swan song game. I just don't see it happening. If they're on the road, all bets are off in the NFC Championship game. But if they go to Dallas, like a dome team, if they go to Dallas, I'd give Aaron Rodgers a shot. And I would love that game. I would love a Dallas, Green Bay NFC title game because that would be a rematch from Dak's rookie year. Great game.
Okay. All right.
Don't give Aaron the ball last. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hudson River. What do you think?
Not a big fan of the Bills, and I'll just be honest. I'm biased. I didn't like how they treated Tyrod Taylor. So.
You know what? I feel you. They did him wrong. But you know what? The Browns did him wrong too.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
By the way, he was at my cousin's wedding. David Wilson is my cousin.
David Wilson. Now that's a fast
next time,
right there.
Guys, remind me I'll send you the pictures of my son at David Wilson's wedding. David had all the Hokies and all the pro players that are friends of his. Tyrod Taylor was one of the groomsmen. He woke them all up and made them come down to the lobby and shake my son's hand and take pictures with him. David is a great guy. My son looks up to his big cousin David. So he thinks it was pretty cool, and David was a big fan of my son's playing his travel baseball. David Wilson's a great guy, great young guy.
Cool.
GW Danville, probably the second fastest Hokie behind D'Angelo, maybe Michael Vick, but that dude was fat. We're starting to run over.
We all know who else is from GW Danville. Give my boy some love. You know who else is from down there?
Danville? You talking
Herman
about
Moore, baby?
Yeah,
Herman Moore
was from Martinsburg.
No.
Sean Moore is from Martinsville.
Well, I'm not a
Sean
UVA
Moore is from
Cavalier.
Martinsville.
Yeah.
Herman is from GW. Herman had a problem with the SAT. That's what ended him up at UVA. Tech had to move on.
Okay. All right. Well,
it is what it is. Herman's my boy, though. He's a good dude.
All right.
Hey,
so,
Kirk,
what's that?
I've got to get to that thing. So can you get me out on the next segment?
Oh, yeah.
We're about to wrap the whole show up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys. Yeah. Okay.
Well, let's just the last 2 or 3 minutes. Why don't you give us a 4-minute hard stop? Does that sound good, Rusty?
Yep.
Do a 4-minute hard stop.
Thank you.
So we were talking about Justin Fields before this. And
Oh, wow.
because he is running for his life. He's getting hit a lot. He's not, you can tell the playbook is not. And I'm wondering, it's like bringing a pitcher up too fast. He's running for his life. You know, I think that Mac Jones is having the best rookie year so far. I mean,
Mac Jones is pretty good.
yeah,
Looks
but
pretty good.
I'm worried about Justin Fields. It's almost like Andy Dalton might want to come back. They might want to sit him and let him watch. What are you all's thoughts? And why don't we just close out on that? But I do want to hear Rusty's Super Bowl pick. So let's close out on that.
Yeah, sounds good. Go ahead, Rusty.
So, one, as a Bears fan, I was thrilled that they selected him, but I've never been a fan of just throwing rookie quarterbacks in there, especially if you have a veteran. And, you know, they tried to play Andy Dalton, but if you don't have the protection, look, players are human. I don't care how good or great you were in college. You have mental and you can have physical pain. And eventually, after getting hit that much, you can become gun shy. And so if they don't protect him, it's a lot of quarterbacks that it's not just how good you were, but it's about where you are. And I think if you don't have the right coaching, the right protection, it can ruin you. And so I want to see if once you start to lose that confidence, it's a wrap. So I would like to see Justin. They either simplify things, run the ball. Herbert, picked up 100 yards the other day. Just don't let it be on him. I know people are throwing the ball around now. It's a lot of spread offenses, but protect him from himself. Run the ball. Just play great defense. Let that be a focus and allow him to grow and develop. And if this coaching staff can't adjust, then that means they need to go anyway. And then my Super Bowl prediction, I like Tampa Bay again. I actually liked them last year early once I saw how, just getting Tom Brady. So I like Tampa Bay. And you know what? It's going to be a team that we're just not looking for. So I'm thinking it's going to be like the Raiders or the Titans.
Wow.
Those are the teams that I'm
seeing the Raiders, not the Titans.
Hey, yeah. I'm feeling Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell smells money. If Vegas ends up in the Super Bowl, I smell money.
Oh yeah, but people also like the story. John Gruden, he's gone.
Amen.
And now they go to the Super Bowl. I think we'll see.
Okay. So, all right, okay. Dave. We know you got the bodybuilding contest to go to. Let's take 30 or 40 seconds. Bam, 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 bam. I want a prediction on UVA this weekend, Tech this weekend, and tomorrow's night game. Okay.
Who does UVA have? BYU?
BYU at BYU. We talked about UVA. I think they're better than you are. And I'm a Hokie. Anyway, I like UVA.
I don't like going out to BYU.
I like UVA beating BYU very closely. Yeah. I love my Hokies. I would love for them to go up to Chestnut Hill. I don't see it happening. I see them losing to BC. If you guys think I'm a hater, you Hokie Nation, no, I want the Hokies to win. I'm sorry. I think they're going to lose.
You're right.
I like Green Bay tomorrow night. Dave, your turn, and then Rusty, and then we're going to be off like a prom dress. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, okay. Let me take the Green Bay game. I will take the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals will take out Green Bay tomorrow. Okay. That's my pick. As far as Virginia at BYU, the last time Virginia went out to BYU, they got destroyed. It was at least a 21-point loss. But I don't like going out to BYU. It's never been good to the Cavaliers. I don't think, have they ever won in Provo? I don't think so. I will say this game will be 48-40. UVA wins. They finally get one. They put up 48 points.
All right.
What was the other game? Tech against BC at Chestnut Hill. Come on, man. I'll go for the Hokies on this one. Come on, guys. Give me a W.
All right.
Give me a W.
I like your pick better than mine. All right, Rusty. What do you like?
For me, I think for UVA, I'm going BYU. One,
okay.
They want to show that you left us for UVA. BYU has a national championship. It may be almost 40 years ago, but they have one. And I think those players just want to say, You think you're better than us? So I'm taking BYU.
Okay.
And then Virginia Tech, I just think once they're in a spiral, and so I think that's where they're going and what's going on. And Boston College is a decent team. They're a decent team. So they haven't won in the ACC, but I think that they'll beat Virginia Tech.
All right, Dave. Thanks for thank you for being on. We appreciate it. Why don't you close out with little props to Bob Ferry?
Well, we definitely have to shout out Bob Ferry. Rest in peace, man. That's really tough. I had a dog here.
That's all right.
I got a dog on the show.
This YouTube, but Bob Ferry, general manager of the Wizards, passed away today. Two-time GM of the year. Bullets won world championship under him. So that is it. That's our NFL roundup. DC, thank you. We'll have you back on. And Kirk and Byrd, we are out.